Playboi Carti's Opium has gained immense popularity these past few years, with artists Destroy Ken Carson and Homicide Gang escaping the underground and going straight into the mainstream, with building arguably one of the most strongest fan bases in hip-hop while maintaining their mysterious aesthetic. With the Opium CEO Playboi Carti being the mastermind behind it all, my name is Aaron Chan and I'll be looking at the state of Playboi Carti's Opium and what's next for each of these artists music-wise and the future of their careers. And now starting with the man, the myth himself, Teen X. I mean, I guess he's like, not even Teen X anymore, man. This man is X-Man.
Ain't no Teen X no more, it's just X, bitch.
Dropping his album A Great Chaos late last year, basically changing his career. As that album had huge success, that album still gets millions of plays every freaking week. And so huge props to Ken. It's honestly crazy to see how far he actually has come in his career. And the A Great Chaos aesthetic as well has also had the most amount of success for him. And it seems like he actually is staying in the A Great Chaos era for the rest of the year, which is great because I feel like Ken should honestly really take advantage of this era and the success that he actually is having now before he actually does move on to whatever he actually is dropping next. Recently, Ken Carson has been teasing his next album called More Chaos, which many could say is the deluxe to A Great Chaos, but I feel like it is more than a deluxe, and it honestly really is a second project. The way Ken Carson is teasing it, man, I feel like it's gonna be an expanded version of A Great Chaos and have 15, 20 songs, bro. And the songs Ken Carson has been previewing recently, man, all sound crazy, and it definitely sounds like it can end up on the original A Great Chaos album. And they all sound crazy, bro. Hey man, no question, bro, this is his best era music wise, bro. And hey, no meat writing shit, bro, Ken is one of the best artists out right now. Now when I could actually expect More Chaos to actually drop is man, definitely sometime in June or even July or even later this month. But man Lone is probably dropping his album, which we actually will get into. And if y'all haven't been living under a rock, y'all probably know that man Ken has announced his Chaos tour, which doesn't start around mid-July. So man, I can only imagine that it actually does drop before then, unless he actually does drop it while on tour, which also could be a possibility as well. Also, speaking of this tour, man, is gonna be absolute chaos, no pun intended. This tour has potential to go down as one of the craziest tours in recent time, and even Ken tweeted announcing the tour saying, if you're scared, stay home. And so this man is aware of how crazy this shit will actually be, man. I expect hella fights, bloody noses, fans jumping on stage. Y'all know how crazy Opium fans are, and with Ken's fan base basically being 10x of what it was since dropping X, this tour is gonna go so much crazier than the X-Men tour. And the X-Men tour is absolutely crazy. I remember seeing clips of Ken trying to fight a fan's dad going on stage, what the fuck. And it will probably lead to the popularity of the A Great Chaos album being increased like crazy, because this album will actually sound absolutely crazy being performed live. Songs like Fighting My Demons, Lose It, Me and My Cup, even Succubus, man, man, imagine moshing to all those songs, bro. I'm super curious to see how the future of Ken's career is gonna look like, man. Obviously he actually is gonna ride out the A Great Chaos era for the rest of the year with his Chaos tour lasting mad long, fam. I'm super hyped to see what project he actually will drop next. Will it be a whole different era or will it be Opium Twins? And speaking of Opium Twins, man, Destroy Lonely top floor boss Baby Money has been getting hella popularity recently, both for the right and the wrong reasons. And now focusing on the right first, man, Lone has been teasing his next album called Love Lasts Forever. It's been a year since Lone dropped If Looks to Kill, and man, we still don't have any release date of when his next album is gonna actually drop. It was supposed to drop in April, but yeah, man, that obviously did not end up happening. A single was supposed to drop this Friday called Love For Ya, which is a song he actually did perform at Coachella, and this shit sounds absolutely crazy. I don't get how some Opium fans hate on Lone, man, but this new sound Lone has for this album, man, oh my god, bro, this shit makes me feel some type of fucking way, bro.
What do you mean by that?
But in typical Opium fashion, this single would not end up dropping. I would expect both the single and the album to actually drop this month. The rollout hasn't been as crazy as last year, man, so I'm definitely curious to see how Lone is gonna try and make this album have more hype than If Looks to Kill. The snippets he actually has previewed, man, sound absolutely crazy. He even has that one song with Don Toliver and man, oh my god, bro, I'm finna bust, bro, that shit sounds absolutely insane, bro. I would never imagine a Don Toliver and Destroy Lonely collab, man, but man, their sounds really fit each other perfectly, and I feel like if he actually has crazy features like Don Toliver on this next album, man, he could finally be mainstream. Also, I hope Lone does actually announce a tour as well, unless he actually is opening up for Ken Carson, which could also be an option, as Ken is obviously the bigger artist, but Lone is obviously big enough to go on his own tour. Maybe he actually might go on tour at the same time as Ken, and both tours will kind of intertwine. Lone has really improved performing, man. He might even be a better performer than Ken, man, which honestly might sound a bit crazy because Ken has better concert / mosh pit songs, but Lone's performances recently have been so much better than Ken's. And for example, man, oh my god, bro, Rolling Loud Miami, man, that shit was absolutely crazy, bro. I'm gonna show y'all a little clip. After seeing this shit, man, I was like, yeah, Lone is a fucking star. It's crazy how he actually went from having stage fright at the King Vamp tour and to now having insane energy and confidence on stage. Now, when we actually could expect Lone's album to actually drop, man, probably this month or like next month, man. Obviously, his album is actually like, you know, still being mixed. It may even be postponed because of some allegations like, you know, Lone has had recently involving the B word. I don't know if it's like true or not, man, but yeah, man, this shit is not looking good whatsoever. Looks like Homicide Michi is the only person in Opium to actually not have allegations. And speaking of Michi, let's take a look at Homicide Gang. Now, Homicide Gang has become very popular this past year, being like, you know, pretty popular duo. I even saw them live last year, man. Their album Star or Not was like, you know, super fire, but everything they have dropped after Star or Not has been mid. The album they dropped, Fifth Amendment, after Star or Not, was honestly very disappointing. I thought on this album we actually were gonna hear more Michi than Bino, because man, in my opinion, Michi is the better artist, but this album had mostly Bino and his annoying ass ad-libs. I talked about this before, but that spin ad-lib Bino has, where like, you know, this man says spin, it's so fucking annoying, man. Like, hey man, I'll show y'all like right here, bro.
Let's spin.
I don't get how Bino's ad-libs have like, you know, downgraded this much. I remember the ad-libs Bino had on Star or Not, where like, you know, he was like, woo, that shit was like absolutely fire, bro.
Homicide.
Like, don't get me wrong, Bino's fire, but hey man, I feel like a lot of his like, you know, flows just sound like very basic and boring, and while Michi actually brings energy onto their tracks. And recently they have been rolling out their next album, which is supposed to drop this month, called I5, U5, We5. But hopefully this is another album like Homicide Lifestyle and Star or Not. Regardless, I'm gonna still listen and hope they actually go on tour again, unless they actually are opening up for Ken. I remember when I actually saw him last year on their Star or Not tour, man, it was definitely one of the best shows I've ever been to. And speaking of shows, man, Homicide Gang had a sold out show in China, which is crazy how people in China be even listening to Homicide Gang. And Chinese Homicide Gang fans were actually wilding after the show, saying shit like,
人走了 Past summers, Opium only.
it's honestly crazy how much of an impact Opium is having globally. Homicide Gang has also had this song leak recently with like, you know, Carti, which is the first time we're actually ever hearing Carti and the Opium member on the same track. And speaking of Carti, Jordan Terrell Carter, where the f is the album? If I had to guess when Carti is actually dropping his like album, man, honestly, bro, I'm gonna say probably on his birthday, September 13th. But honestly, man, we actually have like, you know, no clue, man. Carti is a very unpredictable person, no question. Besides that, I appreciate me. If you guys enjoy, make sure you subscribe for more open content. Hey, man, it's been a brand new guys. Peace, love y'all, wipe y'all.
Yeah, this shit on another level. Yeah, I'm just trying to make something special.